This is Grant Street, New York. This is where I grew up with my mother when she was a single mom raising 2 kids. We walked 3.5 miles to a base. It was Plattsburgh Air Force Base, both in winter and summertime until she met my stepfather. And this was a very important part of growing up because it was a 2-bedroom apartment where my brother and myself grew up. I was 4 years old when she divorced my father, and I was 7 when she met my stepfather. So we lived here for 3 years. Randy Posh's lecture, the last lecture, it struck a chord with me because he talks about childhood and what he believed in and what he felt about his importance of his life. He talked about how he chased his childhood dreams. Myself, I actually grew up a military brat with a mother who was a single person in the U.S. Air Force. So for me, it was a very distinct life. There's both an enlisted corps and an officer corps. We are part of the enlisted corps. It's like being a second-class citizen. You learn quickly that there's a distinction between you and them. So as I grew up, one of my dreams was to become a commissioned officer. I joined the U.S. Navy at the age of 17. I served on a destroyer, a combat destroyer vessel. And when I got out of the service, I went to ROTC at Cal State Long Beach. Great that I'm doing my teaching credential, my master's at Cal State Long Beach, because when I went through my officer training corps, I was told I had a heart murmur and could not be in the military. So interesting that, hey, the first thing I wanted to do was be a commissioned officer. The first thing they told me I couldn't do was be a commissioned officer. And it was at Cal State Long Beach. When at least I'm getting my teaching credential and master's degree from the same institution. One of my childhood dreams was to become an actor. And in pursuing that, I've worked on a number of different TV shows and television shows. I've worked in commercials. I worked on the Capital One commercial, What's in Your Wallet? We're going to do another picture for you. This is me in the Capital One commercial. I bet you wouldn't recognize me if you saw it. But basically, that's me in the Capital One commercial. In doing that, I've worked with different actors. Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn was probably one of the coolest actors I worked with. I was out at the smoking area when he came out to take a smoke, and he said, "Who are you talking to on your phone?" I said, "My wife, and she thinks you're one of the best actors out there." He said, "Let me talk to her." So he grabs the phone and starts talking to my wife. Okay, this is Vince Vaughn, a 5-star actor, one of the tops in the field. I've had the fun of working with Jim Carrey. I've also worked with Mr. T. Mr. T was great to work with because I remember in the 1970s the show called The A-Team. Let's talk a little bit about what I would do if I knew this was my last living. One of the things I also do is I teach. I'm working as a substitute teacher, but I'm working on my teaching credential, as I said. So I think if I was to impart to my students about life, it's to pursue whatever dream you have. There's no dream that's not big enough that you shouldn't pursue it. If you believe you can't do it, well, it's like Mr. Ford said, if you believe you can't, you can. If you believe you can, you can. If anything, that's what I've learned in my lifetime is that anything you want to do, there's ways to do it. Obviously, sometimes our dreams are not achieved, like me becoming a commissioned officer in the military. Other times they are. But I think the important thing is to keep yourself pursuing those dreams even as you get older. I'm 41 years old, and yes, I'm older than a lot of students at Cal State Long Beach. If I was looking at it statistically, I'm probably in the third tail of the standard deviation from the norm of students here. Most of the students are anywhere between the age of 20 and 32. While being older, it does allow me to see life a little bit differently. And basically allows me to say, hey, I'm going to pursue whatever I decide to pursue and go after it. I also own my own business. I have a number of very great employees. As a matter of fact, the person holding the camera right now, her name is Vanessa, and she is working on becoming a broker.
Yay, me!
As myself. Yep. And one of the things that's interesting is sometimes our lives take different paths because of things that go on. What we first see as a problem or as a mistake sometimes becomes one of our best blessings. When I became a stockbroker, it wasn't because I had chosen to be a stockbroker. It wasn't even a dream of mine as a child. I had lost my commission as an officer because of my heart condition, and a friend of mine wanted to be a stockbroker. Well, that was my roommate in college, so I decided, hey, maybe I'll become a stockbroker. I went to a firm called Dean Witter at the time. My manager said that I had no chance of making it, and as a matter of fact, another gentleman who interviewed with me, he said that he would be top of the quartile. He was from USC and was from a family that belonged to a country club and had a lot of connections. I was from the wrong side of the tracks as a military kid, so I didn't expect to make it. Well, the first year I was first quartile. The second year I was VP of investments at Morgan Stanley. And by the 7th year I was there, I was laid off because, hey, I guess when somebody says you're not going to make it, they get the last laugh after all. Well, I've still been in the business. I've been in the business for 14 years. I'm building a team of successful advisors. I'm working on my teaching credential. And basically, I believe that you can pursue anything you want. The other questions it asks about is being an advocate for yourself in your own healthcare. Well, myself, I found out in December that I have diabetes. I'm a type 2 diabetic with neuropathy, both in my hands and my feet. And having diabetes, I've realized that I need to be proactive with this. Since December, I've lost 35 pounds by going to Jamba Juice. Hey, pitch for Jamba Juice. You should definitely do it. I do a 2-ounce wheatgrass every day. I do a Jamba Juice for breakfast. I usually do one of their pizzas for dinner, and it's helped me cut 35 pounds in 3 months. Um, Closing, I believe that anything you want to do, you can accomplish. It makes sense to have goals and dreams. We should always encourage kids to pursue their dreams. When I work as a substitute teacher, I see the kids are usually having problems in class, and as they're leaving, I pull them aside and I say, you know what, I can tell you're very smart, and I can tell because of the way you talk and you're verbal linguistic, and you're very intelligent. You really need to apply yourself. I don't know if it helps. I have the feeling that it does, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody else gives them that positive encouragement as well, because when you're only substituting 1 or 2 days during the school year with them, it may not be enough. But any kids it can accomplish anything they choose to. And in closing, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope this meets our goal for what we were looking for. Thank you.